Welcome to the studio. This week we're going to look at the build of my new live rig table thing. So cue that intro. Let's go. Okay, slightly different thing this week. We're going to do a bit of woodwork. One of the listed goals for me this year is to perform live and to release an album around that performance. I have a gig booked for March the 20th, which is the first one as this electronic thing. And I realized I didn't want to have to turn up and start plugging in loads of gear. So I wanted to build a table which I could just turn up and basically give a DI box out to the front of house guy and it would just be ready to go. So I've been watching a lot of videos of other people's live rigs, and one that really stuck out to me was Heimbach's had a few over the years. But one thing that really stuck out to me for what he said was that your live rig should altogether be an instrument that you can play as one thing. And I've had a few iterations which you've seen on some of the Januaries and things like that, which has really had the OPZ as the brain and some other bits and pieces around it. And I've really sort of solidified down now, and I didn't really want to be a teenage engineering guy, but actually it is a bit of a teenage engineering setup. So I've got the OPZ and the OP1 field, and then I've got the Volca bass. The OPZ is the sequencing brain, and then the OP1 field is doing samples and ambient textures and things like that. And then the Volca bass is being used sometimes for sort of like acidy bass lines, and other times is being used as sort of like a monosynth lead synth, and then all being played through this cool little reverb pedal they got from Temu, which I'm going to do another video on. Without further ado, we should go and have a look at what the board looks like currently, because I've already done some work on it, not on camera. As you can see, I've built the basics of the board. This board has been sized to fit inside this flight case, which you can probably see on the screen now as a bit of B-roll. It's not probably quite as big as I would have wanted, but it's big enough. The vibe is that basically it's going to be Velcroed on the top. There's a bit like a guitar pedal board vibe if you've had one of those. Velcro on the top, Velcro on the underneath of the various bits of equipment stuck down, cables permanently installed and then routed through underneath, which is why I have the 4 feet. So there's a space underneath to actually allow cables to run through and not be clustering on top, and then coming up through holes that I haven't drilled yet in the top, into and out of the instruments, and then all through the mixer and then out to front of house. This board will have a Maker Heart 3-channel stereo mixer. The little mixer is good because it has 2 outputs. It's got a main stereo output which will feed front of house. It also has a headphone out which will go to a set of in-ear monitors that I have. So I'm really not reliant on front of house guy at all for my monitoring mix. And my sub theory is that I will create my mix on stage. All he has to do is turn it up to the level he wants it to be at, and away we go. All I have left to do with this current bit of the build is the OPZ needs to sit a little bit higher. So I've got this piece of wood which I'm going to glue on here and then start putting the Velcro on. I'm gonna do one of those cool fast forward time lapse things now so you can see me do that. We're now back. As you can see, the board now has the little riser for the OPZ and also has Velcro in all the correct places to stick the things on. Next, I'm going to Velcro up the back of the various bits of equipment and stick those on, and then begin to run the cables and drill the holes in the right places so they can be neatly stored underneath. I'm not going to do another time lapse. I'm just going to magically click my fingers and it's done. So here we have, everything is stuck onto the board and the cables and the holes are drilled and it is now complete. The only other things that I've not got on this to show you are I have bought a little table stand that clicks onto a mic stand, which this board is going to sit on when I perform, so it's at a correct height for me to actually be at it, so I haven't got to rely on finding a table or something like that. And that little stand also has a mobile phone clip, which I don't really use the phone with the OPZ, but for live shows, potentially I may just want to have that as a security blanket, that it's there. I also think it might be good to be able to shoot like a tabletop down view of what I'm doing if I wanted to make a video. I've also got a little cheapo projector that I bought a few months ago, which I'm also considering to be using the video outputs of the OPZ to use that to project out whilst I'm playing. So I also have a bit of a AV show going on at the same time. The board is now complete. Right, I've got 5 minutes before I have to hand back to that other guy to show you this setup. Now, the core of this setup is the OPZ. So when I press play on this, it plays everything. It does this. The USB connection between the OPZ and the OP1, the OPZ is only sending control data. So it is sending play and pause, basically. That comes out of the OPZ into the OP1. It also comes out via the OP line module, MIDI out into the Volca base, which if I wanted to, I could then use the sync out to control something else, like a pocket operator or another Volca, but at the moment I don't. So that is how the control works. In terms of playing, the OP1 field is sending MIDI out data to the OPZ. The OPZ is not sending MIDI out data, but if I am on channel 6, due to how I've got the MIDI set up, it allows me to play the Volca bass. The Volca bass also can have its own patterns played in, but if I have this playing, that's actually playing on VCO1, I can play VCO2. Obviously, it will be affected by the envelope on the Volca bass, but it means that I can, in theory, have a sort of bass line playing on the Volca, plus then can play a melody on top. In terms of audio and coming analog out of everything, the OP1 and the OPZ go into channel 1 for the OP1, channel 2 for the OPZ, because that's just logical about how they are. Volca bass audio out comes out into this pedal, which is great. It's called the Mini Universe by M-Wave. I got it off Temu. I love Temu. And if I just play this on its own, I'll show you what it does. It does lots of things, but this has this, plays a note inside the reverb. And then you can go crazy, 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 crazy. Straight back to dry bass. And we come into the song. And then audio routing goes through various things into here. This little black box here is a ground lift box, basically, because these are connected via USB. You get horrible earth mains hum, battery hum, whatever. So this is basically in the path after the OPZ audio out to there. It stops all the buzzing. So there you go. That is how this rig goes together. Now, back to the other guy. Next thing is the actual flight case. I got it from a local hardware store, Bunnings, which if you're in Australia, you'll know what that means. It comes with this sort of fun pick-out foam stuff. So my plan is to use that to build as close as I can a cocoon around this table. So when it goes in the box and it's surrounded, none of the edges will bang against the plastic of the flight case. I've also designed the board so the only cables that go anywhere except from holes underneath are on the right hand side. I've made it so the left hand edge will be the edge that will be at the bottom of the flight case when it's in wheelie mode, so it's never ever found to be sat on any cables. This is my live rig. This is what you'll be seeing on some of the videos I'm going to be making going forwards of tunes. I've got a tune to make in the style of Blade Runner for a guy that commented on one of my videos, one of my shorts. That's the end of the video. More musical stuff coming next week rather than DIY building. But I thought it was important to show the journey of what I'm doing this year, not just the music, but actually the other stuff that's going on to prepare for those shows. I'd love it if you could like and subscribe to my channel, because I'm almost at 300. I may well be at 300 subscribers now when this video comes out. That's mad that there's 300. If you're in Sydney, I'm playing in Marrickville on the 20th of March. So let me know in the comments if you're going to come, and I'll let you know the venue. Look, thanks for watching. Goodbye.